really just trying to attack that achievement gap for our scholars with disabilities. It's one thing when we have general education scholars that have a gap as well, but it's twice as prevalent when you have scholars with a disability and that gap, and then trying to figure out. So to me, that's a healthy wrestle for me, trying to figure out how can we help attack that gap and move our scholars along even more so that they can have an opportunity to even in the same space with their non-disabled peers, if you will. And so right now we are prepping and getting ready for my SPED team we started a few years ago with our intense intervention. So we're really looking at how can we close this gap and really see those scores for our scholars with disabilities move in a positive trajectory.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Dr. Toni Shaw. Toni is the Director of Student Services at St. Augustine Preparatory Academy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Toni, I am so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your about St. Augustine and about your position there.
Awesome. St. Augustine Prep is a jewel located on the south side of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We service scholars from K-4 through 12th grade. We are about 9 years old, and we are growing by leaps and bounds. So we're excited for that. And our population, we have a mixed population, so we do have some diversity. However, we service primarily the Hispanic population, but we are a monolingual school. So, and we are a faith-based school. So we are a Christian school. We believe in the Lord, and we wholeheartedly believe that all scholars can learn. Maybe not on the same day or in the same way, but they can definitely learn.
Awesome. I love that you're faith-based, because that is, I don't shy away. Like I told you at the beginning, it's she has, for those of you that are listening, she has a bulletin board behind her and it says, prayer is my weapon of choice. And I love that because it's so true. It's so true. We just, I love that you guys are, and I tell people, I'm like, it doesn't make a difference to me if you're a Christian or not. God loves you, and so do I. So there we go. Right. So I interview everybody because and it needs to be. I think that God being pushed out of the classroom was one of the biggest mistakes Americans made. And that was way before me and you, but, it certainly is and he's coming back. He's absolutely coming back. Prayers. I did a podcast for Ingleside because I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas, and Ingleside's about 20 minutes up here. 10 Commandments right on the wall. I was like, look at that. There's the 10 Commandments. And Scott Kilgore is the superintendent there. So I got to go meet him, and I was like, yay. So good.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So tell us a little, I preempted you. You told us about your school, and then I just was like talking about the Lord. So tell us about you and what you're doing.
So I have been just a little background about me. So I'm originally from Alabama. I'm here by way of my husband. My husband is a pastor, and so from some administrative promotions that he's received. So we've been here in Wisconsin for about the past 15 years now. St. Augustine Prep is the first faith-based school that I've worked in. So it was a little change, a learning curve for me, because I've always worked in the public sector. However, once you know special education, you know special education. Yeah. So I worked as a special education teacher my first year in this particular school. And then I was promoted to the director of special education. So, or director of student services, which encompasses special education. So I've been an educator for 24 plus years. I have taught special education in Alabama, Illinois, and now Wisconsin. And so there's just a little bit of background about me, and I absolutely adore what I do, supporting those scholars as well as their parents. I tease a lot and say that my dream job after I was started teaching, I saw my dream job would be to become the special education director. And so I'm living that truth now, just to support all both sides. Awesome. So I see it from both sides. So every day. I fill my cup by going to classroom, checking in on some of my scholars, getting all the hugs and high fives. And I'm in this dual battle of rock, paper, scissors now. And so I'm trying to defend my championship. But yeah, they're coming for me, but we just have fun. And so I love
Mm,
it.
wow. Wow. So,
Oh,
what do you think is the most important part of what you do?
oh my gosh, it's so many different pieces there. So it really depends on what day it is that that question is
Mm-hmm.
asked right now. Um, really just trying to attack that achievement gap for our scholars with disabilities. It's one thing when we have general education scholars that have a gap as well, but it's twice as prevalent when you have scholars with a disability and that gap, and then trying to figure out. So to me, that's a healthy wrestle for me, trying to figure out like how can we help attack that gap and move our scholars along even more so that they can have an opportunity to even in the same space with their non-disabled peers, if you will. And so like right now we are prepping and getting ready for my SPED team to do, we started a few years ago with our intense intervention. So we're really looking at like, how can we close this gap and really see those scores for our scholars with disabilities move in a positive trajectory. So we did that and we did this huge data dig, looking at assessment scores, rewriting IEP goals, to align with not only deficits, but standards as well, and really taking our time to look and see what that means, what that look like, sounds like, and feel like in a small group setting as well as in the whole group setting. And we discovered when I started, it was like, oh, this is so intense. Intense intervention. And
Mm-hmm.
the first year, our scores grew at least 30%.
Wow.
So we were like, okay, what was it what we did or was it by chance? I don't believe in luck. I believe Lord it orchestrated it all. The second
Mm-hmm.
year it happened, it was better than 40%. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's what we're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're just been on a roll with it. We've had over 60 scholars to test out of special education and have
Oh,
not been back
nice.
in. So we're just
Nice.
grateful to God for the work that He's doing. And
Mm-hmm.
we're being vessels for Him and listening to Him and letting Him guide us in our practice and what we do.
So when you said they're coming for you, what kind of attacks are you getting right now?
No, no, no. That was more so from kids just want to play with me and
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was like, what battle are you fighting right now? I want to make sure you're okay. Because boy, I'll tell you, and prayer is definitely the weapon of choice. Like if there's,
absolutely.
you just, I have this bracelet that I put on and it's 4 beads and I actually have 3 of them and I don't remember the whole story behind it, but it's and every time you put it on, you're supposed to pray for somebody. So when I put it on, I pray for 12 people because it's 3 bracelets. But it's just so true. God hears us and He wants us to be successful. And and I always struggle with test scores because it's like they give that test and it's one score, one moment, one time,
That's
and
what.
then that's what we're judged on. And
Well,
it's maddening, but you're actually taking that and going, okay, I have to live with this. Let's give our students an opportunity. And then they also put it into a bucket where they don't even take into account that these are kids that have special needs. These are kids, and yet they're expected to be at those test scores of the kids of their regular peers. Yes, we want them there. We absolutely want them there. But the fact that they're not even considering the fact that these are students that have learning disabilities, it drives me crazy. Absolutely
yeah,
drives me crazy.
yeah. And I think a lot of times, when I'm with my team and we started talking a few years ago and and my team know I love some data. So wrestling
Mm-hmm.
with the data, that's a healthy frustration again for
Yeah.
me because
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure it's okay for me. It's okay to know what the data is telling me, but I really want to know, can I read between the lines and see what the data is really not telling me so that we can attack that thing? And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what we did. And I'm just so grateful for the team that I have that trust me and my leadership. And when I say we're going to wrestle with the data. So we literally take a day, the team and I take a day and we pull test scores and we have all these anchor charts up and we're categorizing groups and we're getting sub scores and we're breaking those numbers down and trying to see, okay, now according to the learning standard, what from the gen education teacher, what are we learning? How can we weave this in and what would that look like? How can
Mm-hmm.
we assess it to make sure we're on the right track? And so just really taking a look at that and having a team to say, you know what, we can do this and working through those things. Because it doesn't come easy at
Mm-hmm.
all. And when we got new scholars that come in from different schools or transition into our school or who wasn't with us the year before, or either test in that year is like really like trying to understand where they are and how we can move them also.
Mm-hmm.
One big piece that I always say is, you know what, we're going to use this test because this is going to help us inform our instruction. Because at the end of the day, we want them, whatever we're practicing, the skill we're sharpening or the instruction in that small group setting, the hope and the desire is for them to transfer that knowledge back into that whole group setting so that when they are in that whole group classroom, they too can answer those questions and feel confident when they're ask a question and answer and interact. And so it's been beautiful to see the scholar go in with that confidence. Oh, I remember
Mm-hmm.
that from my small.
Yeah.
And just to see them and being when the teacher's calling on them to do and answer questions and to give examples and to share. And just to see them and to see them develop and evolve into this more confident scholar has been just beautiful and a rewarding within itself.
Yeah, there's nothing when that light bulb
Right.
moment happens, it is amazing. It is
Right.
just amazing. And I
Right.
think anybody who's in education will agree that that is
Mhm.
the most beautiful thing. When a kid, when a child, when a student, whatever you want to call them, gets it, scholar gets it, it's a beautiful thing. And
Absolutely.
and the fact that you're taking what you have and making it apply to your students. So how do you do that? Like, what is the process? I know you said you look at all these things, but then how does it trickle down into what your teachers are doing, your sped teachers are doing, and does it cross over into your gen ed teachers? How are you
Mhm.
implementing it?
Yeah, so we really the mindset here with us at our prep, like just like we own the data, we have all of our scholars. All of our scholars are our responsibility.
Hmm.
So we are some of our sped scholars are in different groups with our general teachers as well as our special education teachers. So we employ this model called a push in, pull out. So we support inside the classroom as well as pull outside of the classroom to do many lessons. So I think that is very valuable because it's important that the special education teachers in the classroom to kind of see and hear what's going on and expectations from the general education teacher, instruction there, the standards there. And then also when we pull them out, we work with those scholars at their instructional level. This is the letter
Hmm.
level that now this is the maximum learning is going to happen. So just because you're in eighth grade, your instructional level may be sixth grade, fifth grade even. So
Hmm.
we're going to teach you text evidence or how to cite text evidence at that level so that you get a good understanding of it. So when
Hmm.
you go back into the classroom and we hear that academic vocabulary we use that as well. So the scholar know,
Hmm.
oh, that sounds familiar. Oh, I know what I should do, and so we
Hmm.
just really take it step by step. It is a lot of work on the front end, front loading, like what we're going to do and the design of what we're looking for. And from that moment, now being able to pull the scholar out. So, okay, remember, lots of graph papers and charts because we have a lot of visual learners and I really believe in like tapping the multiple modalities of learning. Like,
Yeah.
how are we going to do our tactile scholars? How are we going to do our auditory scholars? Like, what do we have? How are we touching the technology piece? So we tap into at least two or three of those just to make sure that our scholars get and understand and see what's going on.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'll tell you, I never read a manual ever because I'm not somebody who learns from even in grad school. They tell me I could buy all these books and and test time I would be opening up to fill in the gaps of whatever I did, and I was an AB student, and actually I graduated with my bachelor's with summa cum laude. I was an A student all the way through because I wanted to be there. By the time I got to grad school, I was tired and I didn't want to be in school anymore.
I get it. I
So
get
I
it.
went to an AB student, and but I didn't learn that way. I didn't, you tell me to read a chapter. Oh my gosh, I'm falling asleep. I tried one time to read the manual of my new car, and my husband was laughing at me because we were on a long trip, and I was like, I'm going to read this manual. I'm going to know there's everything there is to know about this car. And it was a cute I have a little Mini Cooper. It's a convertible. First, I got rid of the mom van. I didn't need the mom van anymore. So I got this cute little car. I'm going to learn everything there's to know. I was asleep within like 3 pages. And I was like, fine, you read it and tell me what I need to do. Because that's what I do. If there's a manual on something, I'm like, just tell me how to do it. Because I'm an experiential and auditory learner. And I've never been a person that, so, I mean, and I don't have a disability, but,
Right.
some people may say that is a disability. Who knows? But I
And,
don't care.
and those things
Yeah.
are so important. A lot of
Yeah.
times I think people forget about it and take it for granted. We also here at our school, we do a lot of we call it professional development. Well, some professional development, but we do a lot of like what we call forward field groups. So those are like mini groups that a lot of the leaders lead and teach for our teachers even. And that's one session I did last year where we were talking about learning styles, like how important it is to hit those learning styles. And you will be surprised at some of the gains you will make just by understanding. Because a lot of times when we think about it, people teach to the curve, like teach to the middle. We think about that bell curve. Well, long ago is the bell curve at this point. It's gone. And so if you teach it there, you're going to lose those people on the outside. So what can we do?
That's a lot of people to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. And really thinking about differentiating and scaffolding lessons. And doing just what's best for kids, right? One thing, we really pride ourselves on here at OPREP, and this is across the board, is our tier 1 strategies and supports for scholars. Like if that is solid, guess what? Like we are well on our way with that. Like what's best for these scholars? Like, do they really need an IEP to say, restate or chunk that information? No, that's just what's best for scholars as a whole. So let's do it.
Right.
So we really pride ourselves on that as well.
We all feel it. Students are struggling more than ever with emotional and behavioral challenges. Lighthouse Therapy offers virtual, hybrid, and in-person behavioral and mental health support that builds around your school environment. Our licensed professionals are trauma-informed, experienced, and trained to work with K-12 students and staff. You don't get a cookie-cutter approach. You get a partner who listens, adapts, and builds trust. Because when students feel safe and seen, they thrive. Learn how you can get support at your school at lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together. Yeah, and I think that the whole concept of special education with neurodivergence and with how we are understanding better and better how people learn, it's really changing the landscape of special education so much. And I think in some ways it's good, and in some ways it's like increasing our numbers and whatever, utilization. It used to be 13% was a lot. 13, utilization. And for those of you that don't know what utilization is, what percentage of your population is in special education versus general education. So 10% if you have 1,000 students would be 100 kids, and 13 would be 130. Quick math for you there. I do know math. But it's really gone up. I mean, utilization has gone to 20 to 25% in schools. And we have the specialty schools where it's 85% because that's what they focus on. And so it's really a different ballgame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm happy to say right now, we have close to 1,800, a little better than 1,800 scholars, but we're literally maybe 10% utilization. Wow. So, and even with that, we accept scholars again when we come in, and we have some entry points, like 6th grade is a high entry point for us, as well as 9th grade. And this year, our enrollment director, we met just looking at numbers, just going over who we have. This year we received 9 9th graders with IEPs, and that's the first time since I've been here that we've received such a high number at that particular level. So, and just really looking at that because my thing is like, okay, so fine, we got them in the door now. How can we support them? What are their
Right.
needs? And just getting with the team and we like really do an audit of those IEPs and we're writing and trying to identify who needs math support, who needs reading support, who has
Yeah.
speech support, what we do. Now we know who got what. Let's take a look and see what these minutes are going to look like. Where are they? So now we're diving into like, okay, here's what their goal is saying. This is what we're seeing. Is this really what we're seeing? And a lot of times we have to adopt IEPs from the previous school. So for me, okay, thank you. However, for me, my team knows I'm going to say, okay, but what kind of assessment did we do to get some
Yeah.
baseline data,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
we're always doing that at the beginning of the year and, just trying to really see. So if it's something that we need to change or tweak, we can do so and feel good about it because if we're saying we're going to accept this document, then we're going to be held accountable to that
Mm-hmm.
document. So, and progress monitoring it and making sure that this scholar is growing. So I
Right.
just want to make sure that the teachers are equipped as well as the scholars are getting what they need also so that they can, again, feel good about their academic performance in the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, what an IEP at one school, it's not a one size fits all. It is not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that
Absolutely.
30-day IEP is our opportunity to, at least is that how it is in Wisconsin? I'm making an assumption there. Do you guys do a 30-day after they start with you, a new student?
We do, however, where we are, it's a little softer for me in the
Okay.
role that because I'm public choice. So we got a little leeway there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
However,
Mm-hmm.
once we get them, we've seen them before they come in. So we pretty much know what we got. So we're all over the summer. I'm making adjustments, making my list. I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
at what case manager, what case manager will get what scholars. And then we just kind of work from there in that regard. But everyone that we accept, we can service.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's an IEP is a picture, but it is not the child, is it?
Absolutely. And it really depends on how that disability manifests itself in that academic setting.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, we think about scholars with autism. If you know 5 scholars with autism, those are 5 different scholars with autism.
Absolutely.
What
Yeah.
what works for one may not work for the rest of them. And so, but we have a great time just trying to learn and finding those strategies and those things that works for those particular scholars and not just autism, that's with any disability.
Right.
Looking at
Right.
and really, and then that's why I tell my team, like because you got to be the advocate for your scholar and then really knowing, their disability, how their disability manifests itself in this academic setting. So we'll know what adjustments we need to make and how we can reposition this scholar for success here. What do
Mm-hmm.
they need to be successful? And it's up
Mm-hmm.
to us to help figure that out in this particular setting, right?
Right.
So we do a
So
lot of work there.
you said you have a really high Hispanic population. Are you also seeing a lot of students with English as a second language? Are you seeing a lot of that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So
we're
that's a part of it too.
monolingual, so we teach her everything is done in English.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, but the kids come and they learn and they do what they need to
Yeah.
do. And it's really not, we know that it is almost like sometimes it really depends on where you are in the school that day. You may,
Mm-hmm.
we have some scholars that we have a handful that are coming in almost every year that don't speak any English, but by the time the
Wow.
end of the year, they are fluent. And
Right.
it's so wild to see. And it's great to see like, wow, like you did that so beautifully. But,
Yeah.
but they step up to the learning curve and they do well. And it
Yeah.
been a problem and I don't foresee it being a problem.
Yeah, I'm always so impressed by students' abilities to learn, to just step into it. To me, that would be one of the most frightening things to come into a new school where all I know is Spanish or, well, all I know is English, and you dump me in the middle of a Russian school. And now I have to do everything in Russian. I can't. I mean, I'm 58, so they have younger brains than I do, but still,
But
it's a
it's something, right?
challenge,
Yeah,
yeah,
it is. But one thing I can say, students are resilient.
yeah,
I
they are.
feel like if you put them in and you surround them with, of course, love and support, Of course, with the resources, and that's kind of has been my, philosophy on education. You know what? I just ask the Lord to just make me to be the resources and support that scholar needs to be
Yeah.
successful. So, and that's why I live by that. So, my team knows that, the general education team. So I'm always supporting their staff as well. And they know, well, let me just reach out to Dr. Shaw. I'm struggling. I got an email this morning that made me smile, from a gen ed teacher. Hey, I have this scholar and this is what I'm seeing. You have any resources and support? And, it made me happy
Yeah.
just to say, you know what? Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that, and this is what
Yeah.
we can do to support this scholar. So I really embrace not just the special education side of my role, but when we say student services, that encompasses both gen ed and special education.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny that you said what you said a little bit ago, about how the Lord just guides you. Lighthouse therapy, one of the things that the reason that we are called Lighthouse Therapy is when God called me to start Lighthouse, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. And first of all, he said, no, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. What are you talking about? And the only other thing that God said to me was, excuse me, you've been asking me, right? What I want you to do, I'm telling you, and now you're going to argue with me. It's so funny. We are so funny that way, aren't we?
We
But
are.
then a couple of days go by I look back at my journal. It was only 3 days from the time I was called till the time we became Lighthouse Therapy. And I was like, Lord, you know the name of this company. What is the name of this company? And I was doing my devotions that morning. And one of the things that I always prayed for my kids was, Lord, let me be a light in this dark world to the kids that I serve. So, and I have always loved lighthouses. Our mural on our wall in our bedroom in Michigan. When we started in Michigan, we're down in Corpus 4 years now, but this big mural, and it was a lighthouse. And I lived in Michigan, which is surrounded by lighthouses. And there's a lighthouse about 20, 40 minutes from here. But it's just, and it was just one of those things where it's like, lighthouse. And to me, a lighthouse always has been, an image of God, because it's him keeping us safe from
Absolutely.
the rocks. Keep us off the
Absolutely.
rocks, Lord. Guide us to the safe harbor. That's what a lighthouse does. And so to me, it was like, that's why we're Lighthouse Therapy. Now, little did I know there are about 39 or 59, I can't remember, 39 or 59 other lighthouse therapies out there. But we actually registered our trademark, and my daughter actually developed our logo. But it's just one of those things where it's like, you just love on your kids, you be that light for them.
Absolutely. And that's not to say that things won't come or trouble,
Yeah.
but we're able to work through those things and seek that guidance, that light, and we make things happen. So I'm just grateful just for the role and the opportunity to serve where I'm serving, and to see and reap the rewards of the scholars that I see. Those smiles, just makes my day. Um, every
Yeah.
day, and even working with a dynamic team also that supports and lean on
Yeah.
you. So it's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I promised you I'd get you out, so we got to stop. We have to stop now. So tell people where Dr. Shaw, tell people where they could find you.
Sure. It's easy to Google St. Augustine Preparatory Academy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. However, you can always look up augprep.org, AUGPREP.org. Or if you ever in the states and you are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we are conveniently located at 2607 South Street, South 5th Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So it has truly
Awesome.
been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. So thank you so much for the
Yeah,
opportunity and the invitation.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because, we're brighter together, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.